Hey, what's going on, guys? I am Rick, and welcome to Deliciously Decayed.
I'm Dev. We're at Medfield State Hospital in Medfield, Massachusetts.
All right, let's explore this bitch.
From Hockomock Swamp to Dighton Rock and everything in between. Petroglyphs and monoliths and things best left unseen. Bridgewater Triangle, dark and creepy quarters, haunted asylums, and don't forget the tunnels. New England and beyond, only for the unafraid. Take a dark journey down an untraveled path that's deliciously decayed. Deliciously decayed. Deliciously decayed.
Medfield State Hospital opened in Medfield, Massachusetts in the 1890s. It was the first long-term mental health facility in the Commonwealth. The other asylums preferred to focus more on curable patients, so long-term and chronic patients ended up more at Medfield. And a lot of those other asylums transferred their patients over there. It ended up causing a lot of overcrowding to the point where the number of patients actually rivaled the entire population of the town of Medfield. Back here are the B wards where they had the quiet patients. In the 1940s, they also started doing electroshock therapy and insulin shock therapy.
Did they house any kids or dogs here?
They ended up having kids in the same wards as adults. There was no separation by age. So there were kids as young as 4.
How about top secret Nazi experiments?
This was before World War II started, but once it did start and they had to send soldiers over, they were down to 50% capacity for staffing, and some of the higher functioning patients had to come and take over their responsibilities around the campus.
How do you feel about electromagnetic therapy to one's testicles?
Me personally, or the people here, because they probably didn't know how to do that.
Are you willing to do it?
Yeah, sure, I'll give it a shot.
That's kinky.
So they continued with electroshock and insulin shock therapy, as well as hydrotherapy and sedation, right up until the 1950s. At that point, they switched over to more of psychotropic drugs instead of those other treatments, since that was more humane to the patients. Apparently, it's supposed to be really important to mention that this was the first hospital to use the cottage system plan. It's on pretty much everything that I have seen for every website, every document. They all have to mention this. It's a little excessive. But the cottage plan is that they were able to separate different buildings by their functions. Most other asylums and hospitals before this just kind of put everything into one building. It also gave them a chance to separate patients out by their needs so that they were able to provide care more efficiently for what they needed.
There's no fucking shadow people in this place. So I've been tasked with the very scientific topic of ghosts. With that being said, is Medfield haunted? The short answer is I don't think so. We walked around the place. We didn't get to go inside, but just in my not so expert opinion, I don't necessarily feel like it is. There was one strange thing that happened. We were at a drive-in movie, Shutter Island, and my radio kept switching between channels, which was odd. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm sure there was also a reason for it, and I cannot say that was supernatural, but perhaps strange. However, if you do go up to where they have the cottages and this big white house, you can kind of feel a bit of a presence. It's eerie. I don't know if that's just me or perhaps it looks like something kind of out of a 70s ghost movie, but that's just it.
Just trying to take some photos, but all these dogs want to do is hump my fucking legs. We're trying to make a documentary. Cut me a little friggin' slack here, Fido.
Remember us, for we too have lived, loved, and laughed. I would like to speak to your manager. You don't even have live, laugh, love in the right order. Medfield State Hospital's cemetery opened in 1918 because of all of the patients who had died from Spanish flu. It really just swept through the hospital so badly that sometimes even up to 75 staff members in one day would be sick. They have over 800 graves, none of which actually had any names and dates at all when they were initially buried, until a Boy Scout decided to make it his service project to find out who everyone was, and at that point they were able to set up new stones for them with the patients' names, dates of birth, and death dates where available.
Well, looks like that concludes our time at Medfield State Hospital. What do you think?
But there were way too many dogs and small kids, and it wasn't nearly as haunted as I expected, but it was still pretty cool.
Okay then. Remember guys, give us that like, smash that sub button. I am Rick.
I'm Dev, and see you in New England's darkest corners.
Deliciously decayed.